Fall 24 release, we expand our partnership with SMC3 to include their new direct APIs, or the Execution and Visibility APIs. And to summarize, this changes the Rateware and Carrier Connect integration that we already have and expands on it to include tendering, tracking, documents, and pro number assignment. I'll show you how it works. So in our carrier services for execution and visibility APIs through SMC3, we will enter the quote, tender, and status methods of API as usual. The setup is fairly similar to how you would set up your existing Rateware carrier service. Now, one important thing to note here is that you heard me mention this execution and visibility API integration includes tendering, tracking, pro number automation, and documents. You'll notice it does not include quoting. In this first phase of our expanded partnership with SMC3, we are quoting with the Rateware tariff-based rating, and we're using the direct APIs for the rest of those features that I mentioned. So again, to reiterate, our existing Rateware integration allows you to quote using tariff-based rating, and when you set up your carrier service here, and your quote method is set to API, we will be using the Rateware integration as opposed to a direct-to-carrier quoting integration. That piece is coming down the road, so stay tuned there. But then again, tender method API, status method API has you all set up to use this new integration piece. Then when you go to build your load, within the Freight Quote Assistant, you'll find quotes from the carrier services that you have set on your rate entries. And to open up the rate entries, I'll show you exactly what I mean. I'll access it right from the load here. You'll see on my execution and visibility rate entries, it looks, again, very similar to how you would set up a Rateware rate entry. We've got our tariff name, the effective date, our rate method is API, and again, the carrier service is what connects it to that carrier service I just mentioned. So again, jumping back into the load, you'll see that I have a Rateware tariff-based quote, but I can now tender, automatically assign a pro, track, and receive documents for this load, even though I'm just quoting with tariff-based rating. So to show you how that works, you'll see I've got the request pro number field here, and this ties into that automated pro number assignment feature. Going back to our carrier service, I have a checkbox that coincides with that feature that allows me to automatically request the pro number based on the carrier service that I have here. So in the load, in our FQA, if I check the request pro number box and I hit tender, we will send this tender request to SMC3, and we will automatically assign a pro from the blocks of pros that they have available via API. And the real benefit here, to summarize, is that you're ensuring that the pro number you have from this carrier is accurate. Oftentimes, the pro number can differ, and that causes confusion down the road. But with a direct API pulling from the pro blocks that SMC3 manages, that gives you a little bit of a reassurance that you're getting the right reference number and that there won't be as much confusion down the road. So you can see my load is tendered successfully, and when we do that, we jump right into the tracking feature within this integration. I'll jump over to the summary tab, and you can see that my tracking process is already running because we've tendered this load with SMC3's execution and visibility APIs, and because the pickup date is today. So we will automatically start that tracking session if the pickup is within 1 day or sooner, and if it's a little further out into the future, we will wait to kick off that tracking session, but we will do so automatically again when it falls in that date time frame. So you can see I am automatically receiving status updates here. We're matching on the pro number, and I am receiving updates from SMC3 for this load showing that it picked up at Peachtree City, Georgia. So we've seen the automated pro assignment, we've seen the tendering, we've seen the tracking, but again, as I mentioned, you'll also receive documents when they become available from SMC3. So you can see here's a load that I've already delivered with this SMC3 integration. And in the Documents tab, when I open up the files, you'll see as it loads, you'll have the BOL that we generated for the load, but you'll also have files that have come in from the carrier, things like your delivery receipt, your weight and inspection ticket, and the bill of lading directly from the carrier so that you have this information and you have the documents that apply to this load directly from our API. So again, to summarize, this integration with SMC3 just expands your ability to manage your LTL freight using the SMC3 connection to Revenova. You can still quote with Rateware, you can still use Carrier Connect to identify the terminal information, but you can now automatically pull in pro numbers, you can tender directly to the carrier, track throughout the process, and receive documents on that load.